My name is Kolbe Payne. I'm a level designer currently at Crystal Dynamics. I previously worked on Halo Infinite on the campaign over at 343 Industries and a couple other studios. I was briefly at Gunfire Games and then at the new studio Archetype Entertainment. Level designers can vary from studio to studio. It is a lot of block out work. We do incorporate gameplay elements and narrative, like narrative beats. So studios can just have level designers only do block out work. Then they have gameplay designers that actually go into the levels that you've created and add in the gameplay, like in the combat, set up the AI, set up all the scripting and the missions. As the industry evolves more and more, I think level designers have become more a general broad term of this gameplay designers. So they are setting up the levels, doing the block out work, taking feedback, iterating on that, and then adding in gameplay where needed, setting up combat, making sure the scripting and the levels are working correctly. So yeah, like I said, it can vary, but where I've at Crystal Dynamics, I am a level designer, which does the block out work, and then I do all the gameplay, scripting, AI, setting up all the combat stuff. There's quite a bit of communication that level designers go through, because within the level, almost like everything goes into that level for the game. So I feel like level designers do have to have pretty open communication with other departments, especially with art, because you want to make sure what you're blocking out and setting up is actually feasible for art. So working closely with like an environment artist is something I've done, like working on Halo, and currently here working closely with environment artists. Depending on like how far the project is, that can vary from studio to studio. If you're like super early on, you could just be blocking out and working with your other level designers on your team and getting feedback from them. And before like everything gets up and running, then you'll start incorporating working with narrative and like gameplay engineering and environment art. But from my experience, I have worked closely with almost every department, especially working on Halo, because we were the engine was being like built for Halo Infinite. So there were a lot of times where the level designers needed like some easier tools to work with, and we did work closely with programming and the engineering team to get like certain tools to script and other things. So I've had actually like really good experience working with like the engineering team to be like, hey, I need this feature in the engine so I can easy set up a gameplay or AI and combat way easier than it would be in maybe at some other engines. I think almost every level, or any like not just any level design, but any game dev can agree with this, but like never get married to your work, because it can always be cut out right away, no matter how far along it is, due to like the project scope, or the project's too big and you need to scope it down. But there were a couple outposts I worked on Halo Infinite. I was like, oh, I love this outpost. It's so cool. It's super unique. It's different than the other ones I made. And then I'm working on it, and my lead's like, hey, you know that outpost you're working on? I'm like, yeah. It's really funny. He's like, yeah, I really like that one. But he's like, stop working on it because it's getting cut. And I was like, what? So I was super upset about that, just because I was a new dev, and I was like, oh, I'm having so much fun making this. Nothing can go wrong. But like it was kind of just taken right out from underneath of me. So I think like the biggest thing, like advice, is like, of course I'm still gonna enjoy what I'm making, and I'm gonna put like my heart and my full creative mind to all the levels I create. But just always know that sometimes anything you create can get cut. It won't ship, because like video game cuts on games happen all the time. No matter like what state of the project it could be in. As a level designer in general, I think the best advice I can give is to be like, I think the best skill for a level designer is being able to accept feedback. When you make a level, when you do like the first block out or you're working on it, it's never gonna be the same as when you started with like on a paper layout, or like when you first do like a 3D block out. Accepting positive and negative feedback is the key to becoming a really good level designer, as I've been in the industry for almost 3.5 years as a level designer. Just trying to collect as much feedback as you can on your levels, because you want other eyes to see what you're creating and what you might have missed. And there may be some things that you're like, okay, yeah, I want this level to play out like this, and I designed it this way. And some other level designers or any other person on your team will give some feedback and be like, this isn't really working for me, or I'm getting kind of lost. I don't know like the design intent, and just having other eyes on that will help you grow as a level designer, because you can't always find all the issues and like the small nuances in your level that other people might see, because sometimes accepting feedback for your work, like something you really like and you're like proud of, and sometimes it hurts. You're like, oh wow, you don't like this, like what did I do wrong? And like no, like, or sometimes you get in the mindset of, oh, who cares if they don't like that, I think it's good. It's you don't want to get in that mindset as a level designer, because that's just how I've grown, become a much better level designer, is having my lead and other level designers check out my work. There's one instance on Halo on one of my outposts. There's like a big open shooting range, and a lot of people are like, I don't have any cover in this area, like can you add more cover? And I'm like, well, I could, but like it kind of defeats the purpose of the shooting range. So there's multiple areas around where you have cover to hide from the banished and whatnot, and find other tools and weapons to take them out. So that was a lot of the feedback. Like, I don't like this area where the shooting range is, because there's no cover for me. And that was some of the feedback I got. And then a lot of the other level designers was like, no, this is how the level's supposed to be. There's a good middle ground to where you meet, like, okay, well, I know this is how the level should play out because of the theme. You can add a couple more cover options, but like the shooting range, if you go to a shooting range, like it's always open, you're shooting at targets. So just trying to nail down the theme and still taking like people's feedback, whether it's struggling or they don't like certain parts of the level, is always something to do. And that was a good growing moment for me working on Halo Infinite. So a lot of level designers that reach out to me on Twitter or like on Discord. I think the industry's going in the direction of Unreal Engine, especially with Unreal Engine 5 being so awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it, and it's super far ahead of a lot of like proprietary engines that are out there. But I just think level designers should really know and understand Unreal Engine, whether that be through the terrain editing and learning how to block out. But I think learning Unreal Engine is the best thing for level designers, because, like I said, it's becoming more the normal engine to work in. Like just recently, a bunch of other studios earlier this year, when Unreal 5 went to like full, it's not beta anymore, when it went full out, like a bunch of these AAA studios said, hey, we're working with Epic and we're using Unreal Engine 5 for our next game. It depends from studio to studio what like a role of a level designer is, but it does help you as a level designer to understand like the blueprint node-based scripting inside Unreal Engine. The blueprint scripting in Unreal is becoming more and more prevalent in games, and how we set up levels and create like events and scripting and all that. So I think learning the ins and outs of Unreal Engine, and then learning how to actually script and create things and make your level do certain things that you need within the blueprinting system in Unreal Engine is super big, because that's a really big skill a lot of studios look for. If you look at like a lot of applications, they're like, yeah, we want Unreal experience, and it says like bonus if you have blueprinting experience, that you know and understand how to do that. It's something really big. There's a lot of tutorials even on YouTube. Like I learned a lot on YouTube on how to do blueprinting. So there's a lot of resources out there that are free to actually understand how to do certain things in the blueprinting for Unreal. I think there's some really good communities out there that are really friendly. Like the level design community on Twitter is super friendly. Like almost all the time, if you like use the hashtag level design in your tweets, a lot of level designers will like interact with it and retweet it, give you feedback, or if you're asking for feedback, a lot of level designers that are in the industry will be more than happy to give you feedback. I see a lot of like leads and this big AAA level designers like retweet a lot of like students and younger dev stuff, just to get them the exposure that they deserve. And there's also a big Discord community which is called the Design Den. I'm a moderator there along with some other friends. The Design Den Discord is mainly like level design centric. There's a lot of channels, a lot of communities within the Discord that are for like portfolio advice or like block out pick sharing, all that stuff. There's a lot of good resources in there. And there's a lot of AAA devs are in that Discord that will be more than happy to take a look at your portfolio. I think Design Dead Discord is really, really helpful for new devs, because there's just so many AAA devs in there that are always lurking in there, or they're really active there, and they're more than happy to give feedback and advice to help you grow as a level designer.